The chamber of the Galactic Council was a place where many voices argued, but on that day silence ruled. Great beings from across the stars sat in their tall seats, their eyes shining with unease. They spoke of trade, war, and alliances every season, but now there was a topic that few dared to mention. That topic was Earth. Known to most young races in the galaxy, Earth was a forgotten world. It was placed behind a strong barrier of energy that no ship could pass. Maps showed it only as a restricted zone with warnings not to approach. For generations, no one asked why. They believed it was only a dead world, locked away to protect itself. Yet in secret, the older members of the council knew the truth was more complex. They never explained because even speaking of it brought discomfort. Amanda Carter was not a leader. She was a historian who lived on Helios, one of the colonies where humans from distant settlements studied and traded with alien worlds. Amanda had always been curious about old stories, and she often spent long nights searching old records in forgotten archives. One evening, as she worked in the dim light of a library, she found something strange. It was not a clear book or file, but fragments of broken records pieced together from damaged satellites. They spoke of Earth in ways that unsettled her. And the fragments said Earth was not sealed to keep it safe. Instead, it was sealed to keep the rest of the galaxy safe from Earth. This thought troubled Amanda deeply. Why would an entire world be locked away for such a reason? She copied the records and studied them again and again. But the more she read, the more questions grew in her mind. The following day, Amanda walked across the busy streets of Helios. The city was bright, filled with both human and alien life. Ships passed overhead, leaving trails of light. Yet Amanda felt separated from the noise, her mind caught on the mystery. She wondered if she should bring her findings to the council. But she already knew the truth. The council hated questions about Earth. To speak of it openly was dangerous. At the same time, far across the city, Daniel Brooks was preparing for class. Daniel was young, a student of xenopolitics, a subject about the rules between species. He enjoyed learning, though he often dreamed of adventure beyond his classroom. He knew Amanda as a guest lecturer sometimes, and he respected her quiet but determined way of teaching. That day, fate would lead him to her again. Amanda carried the old fragments to the university, thinking perhaps the students would help her test them. She entered the lecture hall with quiet steps, her datapad clutched tightly. Daniel noticed her as soon as she entered, for her expression was unlike her usual calm. She looked worried, even frightened. When she spoke to the group, she did not begin with history lessons. Instead, she told them about the fragments she had found. She explained the words that claimed Earth was not a world in need of protection, but a world the galaxy feared. At first, the students laughed softly, thinking it only a rumor. But Amanda's voice was firm. She told them these records were old, older than the council itself, and that they must mean something. Daniel leaned forward, caught by her words. He asked questions no one else dared. Why would the galaxy fear Earth? What did humans do to deserve such treatment? Amanda answered with honesty. She did not know, but she intended to find out. The lecture ended and most students left without caring. Yet Daniel stayed behind. He walked up to Amanda and asked to see the fragments himself. She allowed it, placing the datapad in his hands. He read the words slowly, his heart beating faster with every line. Though the records were broken, they spoke of a council long ago, debating about humans. They feared not just their wars, but their ability to survive and grow stronger where others failed. Daniel could not believe it. Humans feared by the galaxy? It seemed like a tale, but the weight in Amanda's eyes told him it was real. Over the following days, Daniel could not sleep well. He thought of Earth constantly. In his classes, he listened less, his mind always returning to the fragments. He met Amanda often, asking more questions. She revealed to him that she planned an expedition, though she had little support. The council would never approve, and most scholars called it a waste of time. Yet Amanda was certain there was truth hidden behind the barrier. She wanted to see it with her own eyes. Daniel surprised himself when he spoke the next words. He told Amanda he wanted to join her. She studied him for a moment, her eyes measuring his resolve. Then she nodded slowly. She told him the journey would not be easy. They would need a ship, resources, and courage. Daniel answered simply that he would not walk away. Dentonese they prepared, Amanda thought often of why she had chosen to trust a student. Perhaps it was his curiosity, or perhaps it was the feeling that the truth about Earth could not be uncovered by scholars alone. The truth demanded new eyes, eyes that still believed in possibilities. Daniel had those eyes. Meanwhile, in the halls of the Galactic Council, whispers began to rise. Some members noticed Amanda's movements. They noticed her pulling old files and asking strange questions. In private meetings, the older leaders warned each other. If she discovered too much, the past might come alive again. They remembered a time when Earth had shaken the galaxy, though few dared to speak of it. Their silence was not from wisdom, but from fear. Amanda and Daniel did not know of these discussions. They only knew that the mystery was too large to ignore. They rented a small transport, one that looked simple and ordinary. They kept their mission hidden as best they could, telling others they were traveling for research. In truth, they carried with them maps, the fragments, and their determination. Before they left, Daniel walked once more through the streets of Helios. He looked at the tall towers, the bright lights, and the countless faces around him. All his life he had lived in this mix of species, believing humans were one among many. But now he wondered, was there something unique about them? Was there a reason the galaxy feared them so much? Amanda stood by the ship as Daniel returned. She could see the questions in his face, the same questions that haunted her. She placed a hand on his shoulder and told him the truth. The answers lay on Earth. Until they saw it for themselves, they could not know. The ship lifted slowly from the ground, leaving Helios behind. The stars stretched before them, vast and endless. Somewhere out there, beyond the barrier, Earth waited. To Amanda and Daniel, it was not just a world. It was a secret wrapped in silence, a truth hidden for millennia. They did not know what they would find. They only knew they had to try. Nanananes, they left the safety of known space. The council watched in secret. They did not move to stop them yet, but unease grew among the leaders. Once more, humans were reaching toward the sealed world. And once more, fear spread in the hearts of those who remembered. The silence around Earth was breaking, and the galaxy trembled at what that might mean. Daniel sat in silence, staring at Earth through the ship's window. His heart beat fast, and he could not find words for what he felt. The planet looked peaceful from space, with its blue oceans and green lands. But in his mind, he remembered Amanda's words. The council had sealed Earth because they feared it. Now he wondered what lived down there. What kind of people had survived for so many generations behind the barrier? Amanda was quiet as well, but her mind worked quickly. She checked the scanners, looking for signs of life. The readings showed energy signals, faint but steady. Some came from beneath the forests, others from deep under the seas. The signals were too organized to be natural. They were signs of cities, technology, and civilization. Amanda whispered to herself that the humans of Earth had not only survived but had advanced on their own. And Daniel leaned closer to the screen. He asked Amanda why the council never told anyone. Amanda replied that fear made leaders hide truths. The council must have believed that if the galaxy forgot about Earth, the danger would be less. But the truth was still there, waiting to be discovered. Daniel nodded slowly, though unease filled him. If Earth had grown stronger in secret, what would happen now that the barrier was broken? They prepared the ship to enter the atmosphere. The hull shook as they descended, but soon the shaking stopped. Daniel looked out and saw wide forests below, rivers winding through valleys and mountains rising like giants. It was more beautiful than any world he had seen before. Yet he felt a weight in his chest, as if the land itself carried a story too great for him to understand. The ship landed in a quiet clearing surrounded by tall trees. The air outside shimmered blue and green, clean and fresh. Daniel followed Amanda as she stepped onto the soil. The ground felt firm, the wind soft against their faces. For a moment, Daniel forgot his fear. He breathed deeply and smiled, saying it felt like home, even though he had never been there before. Amanda agreed. She told him that Earth was the true home of their kind, and the bond to it was still alive in their hearts. As they walked deeper into the forest, Daniel noticed old stone paths hidden under vines. The paths were broken but clear signs of design. They followed them until they reached a structure covered by roots and moss. It looked ancient, but when Amanda touched the walls, she felt warmth. The structure was still alive, powered by something within. Daniel asked if it was human-made. Amanda nodded, her eyes shining with wonder. She explained that Earth's people had built cities that merged with nature, hiding their strength from the sky above. While they studied the structure, they heard movement. Daniel froze, his hand gripping Amanda's arm. From the shadows of the trees, figures stepped forward. They were human, but different. Their clothes were woven from natural fibers, mixed with glowing threads of energy. Their eyes carried a sharpness Daniel had never seen before. They stood tall and calm, not afraid of Amanda or Daniel. One of them, a man with dark hair and steady eyes, spoke clearly. "You came through the barrier," he said. His voice was calm, but it carried weight. Then Amanda answered softly, explaining that they came seeking truth, not war. The man studied them for a long moment, then nodded slightly. He introduced himself as Ethan Wright, and the woman beside him as Laura Mitchell. They were guardians of this part of Earth. Daniel listened carefully, his heart racing. These were the descendants of those who had been sealed away. They were proof that humanity had lived on. And Ethan asked why they had broken through the barrier. Amanda explained about the fragments, the old records, and the lies of the Council. Ethan's face grew hard as he listened. He told them that Earth remembered the Council's betrayal. For generations, stories had been passed down about how the galaxy feared humanity's strength and chose to lock them away. Yet Earth did not fade. It grew stronger in silence, building in secret, preparing for the day the barrier would fall. Daniel felt a chill as he heard these words. He asked Ethan what kind of world Earth had become. Ethan looked at him with steady eyes and said Earth had become patient. Where other species spread quickly and burned out, humans learned to wait, to endure. They hid their power, but they never lost it. And now, with outsiders standing before them, the time of waiting was ending. And Laura stepped forward and invited Amanda and Daniel to follow. She led them through the forest until they reached a hidden city. Daniel gasped as he saw it. Towers of stone and metal rose among the trees, covered in vines but glowing with light. Water flowed through channels, powering machines that hummed quietly. People walked the streets, their steps confident, their eyes sharp. Children laughed as they ran, while workers shaped tools with both hands and strange glowing devices. It was a city both ancient and advanced, balanced between nature and technology. And Amanda whispered that this was beyond what she imagined. She thought Earth would be broken, maybe ruined, but instead it had thrived. Daniel could not stop staring. The people looked at him and Amanda with curiosity but without fear. It was as if they had been expecting visitors for a long time. Ethan explained that the barrier had not only kept the galaxy out, it had kept Earth in. But Earth had never forgotten the stars. They had prepared quietly, building machines under the oceans, cities under the forests, and ships hidden from sight. Their technology was different from the galaxy's, shaped by their own path of survival. Ethan told Amanda and Daniel that Earth's people were ready to step into the galaxy again. And when they did, the Council would remember why they had been sealed away. Amanda listened closely, her mind racing. She asked Ethan if Earth wanted revenge. Ethan was silent for a long time before answering. He said Earth did not seek revenge, but Earth would not kneel. They had endured too much to bow to the Council. They would return on their own terms, with strength and unity. Daniel felt torn inside. Part of him was proud that humanity had become something so powerful. But another part of him was afraid. If Earth returned with such strength, how would the galaxy react? Would it be peace or would it be war? Then night fell. Amanda and Daniel were given shelter in the city. They sat together under the soft glow of crystal lights, speaking quietly. Amanda told Daniel that what they had seen proved the fragments true. Humanity was feared not for its past wars, but for its ability to survive and grow stronger. Daniel nodded slowly. He could not deny it. He had seen it with his own eyes. That night, Daniel dreamed of the stars. He dreamed of the Council, trembling in their seats as Earth returned. He dreamed of fleets rising from hidden oceans and voices echoing across the galaxy. When he woke, he felt the dream was not just a dream, but a glimpse of the future. In the morning, Ethan returned. He told Amanda and Daniel that Earth would decide soon how to act. Their arrival had broken the silence, and now change was coming. He warned them that the galaxy was not ready for Earth's truth. Amanda asked what they should do. Ethan looked at her and Daniel and said their role was not to decide for Earth or the Council. Their role was to carry the truth. The galaxy must know that Earth lived and that Earth had not forgotten. And Amanda agreed. She promised Ethan that she would share what she had seen, even if the council tried to silence her. Daniel nodded as well, though fear still lingered in his heart. He knew the galaxy would tremble when they heard the truth. Nanez, Amanda, and Daniel prepared to leave. Ethan placed his hand on Daniel's shoulder. He told him that courage was not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. Daniel nodded, feeling the weight of those words. He realized that his life had already changed forever. He was no longer just a student. He was a witness to a secret that could shape the future of the galaxy. The ship lifted once more into the sky, leaving the hidden city behind. Amanda and Daniel looked down at Earth, glowing in the light of its sun. It was not just a planet. It was a truth, a promise, and a warning. And as they flew toward the stars, both knew that nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same again. Amanda and Daniel sat inside their small ship as it rose slowly through the clouds. The green forests and glowing cities of Earth faded behind them. Daniel kept his eyes on the window until the land was only a blur of blue and green. He felt a strange pull in his chest, like leaving behind something he was meant to stay with. Amanda watched the controls, silent and thoughtful. Neither spoke for a long time. And when they reached the calm of space, Amanda finally turned to Daniel. She said that what they had seen changed everything. The galaxy believed Earth was silent, broken, or even gone, but now they knew Earth was alive, strong, and waiting. Daniel asked her if the council would believe them. Amanda shook her head. She said the council did not want to believe. They feared this truth. That was why they buried it for so long. Daniel pressed his lips together, feeling a storm inside him. He wanted to shout the truth across the stars, but he also knew the galaxy might panic. None. They traveled for hours in silence. The ship was set on course back toward Helios, but Amanda's mind was far ahead. She thought of the council chamber, the tall leaders with their heavy eyes. She thought of how they would react when she stood before them and spoke of Earth's survival. She expected denial, maybe anger, but she also knew the truth could not stay hidden forever. Daniel, on the other hand, imagined the people of Helios, his classmates, and the teachers. He wondered how they would react if they knew Earth had never fallen. He thought some would be proud, but others might be afraid. None of their thoughts were broken when the ship's alarms beeped. Amanda checked the screen and her face darkened. A patrol ship was following them. It was no pirate ship, but a council vessel, sleek and armed. Daniel's chest tightened. He asked Amanda if they should run. Amanda shook her head slowly. Running would only prove guilt. She told him they would face the patrol and see what it wanted. And the council ship moved closer, and soon a voice filled their cabin. It was sharp and cold, asking Amanda and Daniel to stop their engines. Amanda obeyed calmly, though her hands were steady with effort. The patrol ordered them to prepare for boarding. Daniel swallowed hard, his palms sweaty. He whispered to Amanda, asking if they would be arrested. Amanda only said that they should tell the truth. And moments later, the council guards stepped into their ship. They were tall, armored, and without emotion. One of them demanded to know why Amanda and Daniel had crossed into restricted space. Amanda answered firmly that they were historians and students searching for records. She did not lie, but she did not tell everything. The guards searched their ship and found the fragments and the recordings from Earth. They stared at the screens in silence before one of them quickly reported to their commander. The leader of the patrol, an alien with pale skin and long eyes, stepped forward. He looked at Amanda for a long time, then at Daniel. He told them they had gone too far. He said Earth was forbidden for a reason. Amanda replied that the galaxy deserved to know the truth. The leader's eyes narrowed. He warned her that the truth of Earth could break the balance of the galaxy. Amanda answered softly that hiding the truth had already broken it. After a tense silence, the patrol took their ship under control. Amanda and Daniel were ordered to follow them to the council station. Daniel's heart sank, but Amanda stayed calm. She whispered to Daniel that this was their chance. If the council was already aware, they would have to listen. None. When they arrived at the council station, Amanda and Daniel were led into a tall hall with shining walls. They were not placed in chains, but the weight of eyes around them felt like chains already. The council chamber opened before them, vast and filled with alien leaders of many species. Some faces were old and stern, others young but curious. The air was heavy with tension. Einir and Amanda was asked to speak. She stepped forward holding nothing but her voice. She told the council what she had seen. She described the forests of Earth, the hidden cities, the people who had survived and thrived. She told them about Ethan Wright and Laura Mitchell, the guardians of Earth. She explained how Earth had grown stronger in silence and how it was ready to step into the galaxy again. Her words carried no anger, only truth. Daniel watched as the council chamber stirred. Some leaders shifted uneasily, others whispered to each other. A few faces showed fear, while others showed disbelief. Finally, one of the oldest members stood. His voice was deep and heavy. He said Amanda had spoken of dangerous lies. He said Earth had been sealed because humans were reckless and violent, and opening the seal would bring ruin. Amanda shook her head and replied that sealing Earth had not weakened it. Instead, it had given humans time to grow beyond the galaxy's reach. And then the chamber erupted in voices. Some shouted in fear, others demanded silence. Daniel felt the noise crash over him, his head spinning. He wished he could stand and speak, but his voice felt too small. Yet as he listened, he realized something. Many of the younger leaders were not shouting. They were listening. Their eyes were wide, curious, even hopeful. Daniel's chest lifted as he saw this. Not everyone was afraid. The council leader raised his hand and the chamber grew silent again. He turned his sharp eyes toward Amanda and Daniel. He asked them if Earth had spoken of its intentions. Amanda hesitated, then told the truth. She said Earth did not seek revenge, but Earth would not kneel. Earth would return on its own terms. The leader's eyes grew darker at her words. He warned that if Earth rose again, the galaxy might fall into chaos. Amanda answered calmly that the galaxy had already lived in fear of Earth for millennia. She said fear could no longer be the answer. Truth must be faced, even if it frightened them. Daniel's heart beat fast as he heard her words. He thought of Ethan's steady eyes and Laura's calm strength. He thought of the children playing in the hidden city. He realized Amanda was right. Earth was not a monster. It was a people who had endured, and the council did not give an answer that day. They dismissed Amanda and Daniel, sending them back to their ship. Daniel felt hollow as they left the chamber. He asked Amanda if they had failed. Amanda shook her head. She told him seeds of truth had been planted. Some would deny them, but others would let them grow. Daniel tried to believe her, though doubt gnawed at him. Back on their ship, Daniel sat in silence, staring out at the stars. He thought of Earth again, glowing blue and green. He thought of how the galaxy trembled at the thought of it. He wondered if Ethan and Laura knew what storm was coming. Amanda sat beside him, her eyes steady. She told him the journey was not over. The truth had only just begun to spread. And days later, as they traveled back toward Helios, Amanda received hidden messages. Some came from young leaders asking for more details about Earth. Others came from unknown sources, warning her to stay silent. Daniel read them with her, his chest tightening. The galaxy was dividing already. Some wanted Earth to return, others wanted it forgotten forever. Amanda told Daniel this was proof of Earth's importance. The truth had power. One evening, as they drifted through quiet space, Daniel asked Amanda if she regretted it. She smiled faintly and said no. She told him that history was written not by those who hid, but by those who spoke. Daniel sat back, her words echoing in his mind. He realized he had changed since leaving Helios. He was no longer just a student. He was part of something far larger, a story that would shape the galaxy. And Amanda closed her eyes, resting for the first time in days. Daniel looked out at the stars, his thoughts filled with Earth. He knew the council would not stay silent for long. He knew fear would spread and danger would come. But he also knew something else. Humanity had endured the silence of millennia. Now the silence was broken, and nothing could stop what was coming. Amanda and Daniel returned to Helios quietly, but the weight of what they had seen followed them everywhere. The city seemed smaller now, less important. The stars beyond the planet called to them, reminding them of Earth, alive and waiting. Daniel often looked at the sky, imagining the hidden cities, the people who had survived in silence, and the power they had quietly grown. Amanda sat with him sometimes, her mind always turning toward the next step. They had brought the truth back, but the galaxy had not yet accepted it. And the council had sent emissaries to question them again. Some demanded proof, others threatened punishment. Amanda presented what she had. showing the recordings, the scans, and the messages from Ethan and Laura. Daniel watched as the older leaders frowned, whispered to each other, and sometimes glared in fear. Amanda spoke clearly with no anger, only truth. She said that humanity had endured, had grown, and now could not be stopped. Daniel noticed some of the younger leaders leaning forward, their eyes wide with curiosity. Not everyone was afraid. An inward spread slowly across the galaxy. Merchants, travelers, and explorers began to speak quietly of the blue and green planet, hidden for millennia. Rumors mixed with truth, but the excitement and fear grew together. Some ships changed course to study the distant world. Others sent requests to the council for permission to approach. Daniel and Amanda watched it all with quiet concern. The galaxy had been waiting in fear for humans to return, and now the wait was over. And back on Earth, Ethan and Laura prepared their people. The hidden cities buzzed with controlled energy. Machines long unused were activated. Ships rose from secret bays under the oceans and forests. Humans practiced coordination, training quietly but purposefully. The generations that had lived in silence were ready to step into the galaxy. Ethan addressed them in a calm, steady voice, reminding them that they had survived for centuries. They were strong, patient, and united, and now, the galaxy would see the truth. Daniel received messages from some of the younger leaders in the council. They asked for advice and details. He shared carefully, not revealing everything, but enough to show the growth and strength of humanity. He realized that the galaxy was at a turning point. Some leaders wanted peace, others wanted control, and a few whispered about war. Amanda reminded him that truth could guide the galaxy if people listened. Fear would not stop it. The first encounters began when human ships moved quietly toward the edges of the known sectors. Scouts were sent, careful to avoid confrontation but prepared for defense. The alien worlds that had thought Earth long gone were surprised to see ships rising from nowhere. Communications were sent, simple messages first, asking only for observation. No attack, no demand, only presence. The galaxy's reaction was immediate. Many were stunned. Many were afraid. Daniel watched the reports, his hands tight around the console, feeling both pride and tension. And Amanda reminded him of something Ethan had said. Humans did not seek revenge. They did not seek to conquer for the sake of power. They sought recognition, acknowledgement, and the right to exist as themselves in the galaxy. Daniel understood this clearly. Humanity had been patient for millennia, hidden behind a barrier, yet their strength had grown quietly. Now that strength was being revealed. The galaxy could not ignore it. In the council chamber, discussions turned heated. Older leaders argued that Earth must be contained, that humans could not be allowed freedom. Younger leaders argued for negotiation and understanding. The chamber echoed with voices, some fearful, some curious, some angry. Daniel and Amanda observed from their seats, feeling the tension. Amanda whispered that history was happening now, and they were in its midst. And the first public contact occurred in a neutral space near the border of human hidden territories. Humans arrived in ships that blended technology with nature, moving silently but confidently. Alien representatives observed carefully, noting both the design and the people aboard. Ethan and Laura led the mission, calm and commanding. Daniel and Amanda were present, witnesses to the first true meeting in centuries. The aliens approached slowly, some weapons at the ready, some open to dialogue. The humans did not strike. They only extended greetings, offering words of peace and recognition. The conversations that followed were cautious. Humans explained their history, their endurance, and their purpose. They revealed little about their full strength, only enough to prove survival and intelligence. Alien leaders listened, some with disbelief, some with fear, others with hope. Daniel saw the change in their eyes as truth replaced assumptions. What had been feared as a threat was now recognized as a living civilization that had endured centuries in isolation. And back on Helios, Daniel and Amanda relayed messages from Earth to the Council. They spoke carefully, emphasizing peace and cooperation. Amanda reminded the Council that the galaxy's fear had been based on assumptions, not facts. Daniel added that humans had not forgotten, but they had waited. The galaxy had been given a chance to respond peacefully, and now it must choose how to act. The Council debated, but the shift was noticeable. Truth had begun to change minds. Days. The weeks passed, more aliens visited the hidden cities. They observed human culture, technology, and ways of life. They saw how humans combined strength with patience, power with care. Daniel walked among them, seeing reactions ranging from awe to skepticism. Amanda spoke with scholars and leaders, explaining the history that had been hidden for millennia. They noted that humans had not only survived isolation, but had created a unique path of development. The galaxy's perspective began to shift. Meanwhile, Earth continued to prepare. Humans trained in coordination, learning how to move as one without fear. Cities were ready to support interaction, and ships were ready to protect if necessary. Ethan and Laura emphasized balance and discipline. They reminded their people that the galaxy had been fearful because humans were strong, not because humans were cruel. Daniel felt pride and amazement as he watched generations that had lived in silence now rise with purpose and unity. A year passed since Amanda and Daniel first returned to Helios. The galaxy had begun to accept the presence of humans. Some still feared, others still doubted. But dialogue had replaced silence. Humans moved carefully, offering communication, knowledge, and collaboration. Daniel reflected on the journey. From a curious student, he had become a messenger and a witness to history. Amanda, ever focused, continued to guide interactions with precision and calm. Finally, the day came when the council agreed to send a formal delegation to Earth. Daniel and Amanda prepared for the journey, carrying records, messages, and knowledge to ensure the meeting would be constructive. Ethan and Laura welcomed them with calm authority, confident that humans had the patience to handle the galaxy's hesitation. Daniel felt nervous but ready. The moment of full recognition was near. And when the delegation arrived, humans met them with respect and dignity. Words of peace were exchanged. The council representatives observed the cities, the people, and the technology. Daniel saw the transformation in their expressions. Fear shifted to understanding, doubt shifted to curiosity, and awe replaced assumptions. Amanda explained the fragments, the history, and the endurance of humanity. She spoke of the barrier, the years of silence, and the strength that grew behind it. Daniel added that humans did not seek conquest but recognition, understanding, and coexistence. The meeting concluded with a formal acknowledgement. Earth existed, humans had endured, and the galaxy must respect their presence. Daniel and Amanda watched as the first steps of a new era unfolded. The galaxy had been forced to face the truth, and humanity had risen not in anger, but with quiet strength and patience. Daniel realized that the story of Earth would no longer be hidden. It would inspire, challenge, and guide the galaxy for generations to come. As the sun set on the cities of Earth, Daniel and Amanda stood on a high terrace, watching the lights of civilization blend with the natural world. Daniel felt hope and pride. Amanda smiled softly, telling him that truth, patience, and courage had changed history. Daniel nodded. The galaxy had feared humans, but now it knew the truth. Humanity had endured, and nothing could stop what was coming. The rise of Earth had begun, and the galaxy would never forget the lesson of millennia. Daniel had never left the safe trade routes of the galaxy before. His life had been filled with study, classes, and the busy streets of Helios. Now he sat inside a small transport ship, staring at the endless stars. The hum of the engines echoed around him, and every sound felt sharper than usual. Amanda sat across from him, reading the fragments again, her eyes glowing with focus. She hardly spoke, but Daniel could sense the weight of her thoughts. For the first time, Daniel began to understand the danger of their journey. The barrier around Earth was not just a story. It was something real, and they were flying toward it. He wondered what would happen when they reached it. Would the ship break apart? Would the council send patrols to stop them? He wanted to ask Amanda, but when he looked at her face, he decided to stay quiet. She seemed so calm, and he wanted to be brave too. And Amanda noticed his silence. After hours of travel, she finally lowered the datapad and spoke. She told Daniel that fear was natural. She herself felt fear every moment. But she explained that history was not built by those who stayed in comfort. History belonged to those who searched for truth. Daniel listened carefully. Her words did not erase his fear, but they gave it meaning. He nodded slowly, promising himself that he would see this through. Days passed as they traveled deeper into the quiet zones of space. The bright trade lanes faded behind them, and fewer ships crossed their path. Out here, silence ruled. Amanda spent her time checking maps and adjusting coordinates, while Daniel looked out of the window for hours. watching the stars shift. Sometimes he asked small questions like how the barrier was first created or what humans were like in the ancient past. Amanda gave him honest answers, though often she admitted she did not know. The fragments were broken. Many details were lost. One evening, as the ship drifted near a system of old ruins, they stopped to refuel from drifting ice. Daniel floated near the window and saw giant metal pieces scattered across the black sky. They were remains of ships, but not like the ones he knew. Their designs were ancient, their surfaces burned and cracked. He pointed them out to Amanda, who came to his side. She explained in a low voice that these were war relics, the bones of a battle fought long ago. Daniel asked if humans had been part of it. Amanda did not answer right away. Instead, she touched the glass with her fingers as if reaching toward the ruins. Finally, she whispered that she believed humans had been there, and the ships were reminders of why the council feared them. That night, Daniel could not sleep. He kept seeing the broken ships in his mind. He thought about the fragments again. If humans had once fought battles on such a scale, then maybe the rumors were true. Maybe Earth was locked away not as punishment but as protection for others. He felt both pride and unease at the thought. Pride that his people had been so strong, and unease that such strength had made the galaxy tremble. And their journey continued, and soon the readings on Amanda's console began to change. The stars ahead shimmered strangely, as though hidden behind a thin veil. Daniel leaned closer, and Amanda told him this was it. They were near the barrier. The ship slowed, its engines humming lower. Before them stretched a vast curtain of light, glowing faintly like a river of silver and blue. It was beautiful, but also unnatural. Daniel felt his breath catch in his chest. And Amanda studied the readings with care. She explained that the barrier was an energy field woven around Earth's system. It was stronger than anything she had seen before. For centuries, no one had been able to cross it. Some had tried and failed, their ships torn apart or lost forever. Daniel's hands grew sweaty as he realized how close they were. He asked Amanda if their ship could survive. She admitted she did not know, but she reminded him of why they came. If they turned back now, the mystery would remain unsolved forever. Daniel watched as Amanda activated the scanners. The ship's system sent waves of light into the barrier, testing for weak points. For hours, the scans continued, but the results were unclear. The barrier seemed alive, shifting and resisting. Daniel paced the cabin, unable to stay still. He thought of Helios, of the safety of his old life. He thought of the council watching from afar. Were they waiting for him to fail? Or worse, were they planning to stop him and Amanda before they reached Earth? Then, just as his thoughts grew too heavy, Amanda called him to the console. She had found something. A small section of the barrier pulsed differently, weaker than the rest. It was not an opening, but it was thinner. Amanda believed they had a chance to pass through there. Daniel's heart raced. He asked what would happen if they failed. Amanda looked at him calmly and said they might not survive. The answer made his chest tighten, but he also saw the fire in her eyes. She was ready to risk everything. Slowly, Daniel nodded. He was ready too. They prepared the ship for entry. Amanda adjusted the shields, focusing all power on the front. Daniel strapped himself into the seat, his hands trembling. The barrier grew larger on the screen, its waves shifting like a living storm. Amanda counted down softly, her voice steady. Then the ship surged forward. The moment they touched the barrier, the cabin shook violently. Lights flickered, alarms screamed, and the sound of tearing energy filled the air. Daniel closed his eyes, gripping his seat. He felt heat pressing against the walls of the ship, as if the stars themselves were burning them. Amanda shouted commands, forcing the ship forward with every ounce of strength. For a long moment, Daniel thought it was the end. Then suddenly, silence returned. The shaking stopped. The alarms faded. Daniel opened his eyes and saw something he would never forget. Beyond the window stretched a calm, beautiful space. A sun glowed warmly, lighting a world of blue and green. Oceans shimmered, clouds drifted, and forests spread across continents. It was Earth then, and Daniel could not speak. His chest swelled with emotion. He had seen many planets, but none looked like this. It was alive in a way no other world seemed. Amanda's eyes softened as she gazed at it. For years she had dreamed of this moment, and now it was real. They had crossed the barrier. They had reached the sealed world. But as they drifted closer, Daniel noticed something strange. He expected ruins or empty lands, Instead, he saw signs of life. Cities rested quietly under the forests. Lights blinked faintly from beneath the oceans. It was as if humanity had never stopped living, never vanished. Amanda leaned forward, shock spreading across her face. She whispered that the council had lied. Earth was not dead. Earth was alive, and Daniel's hands shook as he stared. If this was true, then everything the galaxy believed was false. Humans had not been locked away and forgotten. They had endured, hidden from sight, waiting. Daniel felt a mix of awe and fear. If they had survived in secret for so long, what had they become? Amanda touched the glass again, her eyes fixed on the world below. She told Daniel that this was only the beginning. The fragments had warned that humanity was dangerous not because of their wars, but because of their endurance. And now, after millennia, that endurance had carried them through. Amanda whispered that the galaxy was not ready for this truth. Daniel leaned back in his seat, his heart pounding. He knew she was right. Earth was not just a world. It was a secret that could change everything. And they were the first outsiders to see it. Their journey was far from over. It had only just begun.